Today, I'm delighted to inform you that we have got two contenders, one on the left, one on the right. Kevin O'Sullivan joins us, Talk Radio 7 p.m. host, of course, and Richard Power Sayeed, a former Labour Party official. Welcome to both of you. The big question today that I need you to sort out for me and to answer is Keir Starmer ready to be Prime Minister? Richard, let me start off with you.
Of course he is. I mean, it's there in the polls. People trust him. People want to vote Labour now. Things have changed, and I think we're on the right foot now.
OK. Kevin O'Sullivan, what's your view?
Well, a lot of people are asking themselves this question today. Will Keir Starmer be the next Prime Minister of this country? And therein lies the rub. No, he will not be. The next Prime Minister of this country almost certainly will be another Tory who isn't Boris Johnson. They will defenestrate this guy, if not within 6 months, within a year. They are determined not to fight the next election with Boris Johnson. So the next Prime Minister will be a Tory. Is Keir Starmer ready to win the next election? I have my serious doubts.
The other big problem for the Labour Party, Richard, that people talk about a lot is how divisive and how divided it is. We've got Jeremy Corbyn only this week saying that he's thinking of launching a new party to cater for the left in the Labour Party. You know, Keir Starmer has been haunted by the accusations of anti-Semitism. It seems to me that there's still a very big split in the Labour Party. What do you make of that?
I don't think that's what people are worrying about when they decide who to vote for. It's not what comes up on the doorstep. It is used to be. I accept that. But in the last year or so, it's just no one's mentioning it. I think Kevin is mixing up here the big state, the big social democratic state, which is incredibly popular with people, public ownership, yes, putting higher taxes on the richest in our society because it's people with the broadest shoulders who should carry the burden. He's mixing up that on the one hand with undermining civil liberties on the other. Those two things are completely different. I completely agree with him. We need to be defending our civil liberties. We could be doing that if we had a Labour government, because you know what? Sunak, Boris Johnson, Liz Truss, Priti Patel, they're all behind the current police and crime bill, which is going to make it impossible for people to protest, even in completely peaceful ways. It's an astonishing attack on our civil liberties coming from a Conservative government. Similarly, we saw attacks on the kind of crucial part of habeas corpus, our right to a jury trial. That came again from Conservatives. If we want to be protecting our civil liberties, it's Labour that's going to do that. It's Labour that traditionally has done that.
Kevin, looking at Labour from the outside, can you tell me what you think they stand for?
Well, they stand for everything Richard's been saying. And he says that the idea, of a big active state is incredibly popular, more social investment, bigger state, less personal individual freedom. He says that's very popular. Well, if so, how come Labour loses election after election after election? The best chance Labour would have, or Starmer would have, of winning the next election would be if by the skin of his teeth, Boris Johnson remains, because Boris Johnson is not a Conservative. He's what Richard Tice quite rightly calls a con-socialist. And Tories will not vote for his green claptrap. They will not vote for his massive state interference in individual lives. They will not vote for his green windmills and his green industrial revolution. And he has not exactly been a great proponent of standing up against wokery. So if Boris Johnson stays, Starmer could well win the next election. But if the Tories see sense and get rid of Johnson and put a proper Conservative Prime Minister in there with a couple of years to put right all that Boris has done wrong, I'm afraid that the Blues will romp home again.
Final question to you, Richard. Is it mathematically possible for Keir Starmer to win a general election? Because Scotland has now been lost forever, it would seem, to the SNP. Can Starmer get enough seats in the rest of the UK to get into power?
I agree. It's a tough tough mountain to climb. I don't think that the SNP are without vulnerability in Scotland. The more they obsess over a referendum on independence, which is just not what people in Scotland care about, quite frankly, the more I think they become vulnerable potentially. I think also as Starmer shows himself to be a leader for the four nations, the more the Scottish voters will be attracted to him. I personally think that some sort of power sharing agreement with the SNP is a completely constitutionally appropriate thing to happen. Starmer would probably disagree with me on that. He wants to win a majority.
Yes, I think we'd all disagree with you on that. I think any sign of Ian Blackford anywhere near the cabinet, I think would be quite terrifying. But anyway, listen, you're going to hear a gong going off now, which will message the fact that I'm going to now give my completely and utterly neutral verdict on what you've both said. And here's what I think. I think Keir Starmer's a lot more ready to be Prime Minister than he was last week. Boris Johnson's doing his level best to make it easy for him to actually become more popular than the current Prime Minister. But I think on balance, he's not quite ready yet. So, Richard, I'm going to give the win to Kevin, only because for the moment, he's still got quite a lot of work to do to become ready for prime time. This has been the Political Punch-Up. Thanks to Richard. Thanks to Kevin. We'll see you next time.